Yes. Yo, the Ime Udoka era is underway in H-Town. The Houston Rockets. Talent galore, not a lot of leadership. I look across the roster. Kevin Porter Jr., talented. Bit of a knucklehead, needs to stay off Twitter during the games and everything and buying stuff at halftime, but talented nonetheless. But I want to move on from him if I'm Houston. Jalen Green, what is he? I think he's a star in the making. He just needs a little bit more experience. But, in the NBA, we get frustrated and we don't allow people to reach their potential. We don't allow coaches to see the potential through. But keep him, okay? Alfred Şengün, guy is a walking double-double. That regardless of what people say about the three-point ball and how this is a wing-centric league, you just saw what the Joker did. Not calling him the Joker, but you saw what the Joker did. You see what people think of Sabonis and the big money that he just got. So they just picked up Amen Thompson, who I've heard compared to John Wall. I don't know if I would go that far, but athleticism nonetheless. They got Cam Whitmore. Fell in the draft, was supposed to be a top 5 pick. Hopefully the knee, I heard some things about some knee issues. Hopefully that's not a crippling thing going forward. So what do you do when you're a team like Houston? Maybe you go after Brook Lopez, somebody like that, Chris Middleton, somebody that can just come in, fortify your locker room with leadership, because Ime's a leader, but you still need the players. You need the adult players because they spend their most times with other players. So you need players to grow up. They got Jeff Green coming off the NBA title, 1 year, $6 million. But then they did it. They went out and spent $210 million on Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks. Now, I like VanVleet. He will provide a certain leadership. He was an undrafted guy that was hungry. And look at him now, $130 million later in this contract. So he has a certain chip on his shoulder and a sense of urgency that he can instill into this team. Dillon Brooks, on the other hand, may end up being Ime Udoka's biggest headache yet. Who gave him the green light in Memphis? Who's overrating his defense? I mean, he plays decent defense, but people are out here acting like he's Draymond Green. He's Kawhi Leonard. I don't see all that, especially not for no damn $20 million a year. But this is my problem with that, even though I like the fact that they brought adults into the room. I wouldn't necessarily call Dillon Brooks an adult at this point, but I digress. So here you go. I got to read this real quick to you. So Houston had the third worst field goal percentage in the league last year. They were the worst three-point shooting team in the league. And they picked up Dillon Brooks and Fred VanVleet, who both shot below 40% from the field. Not from three. We're talking Mendoza line here. They shot less than 40% from the field. And, they were even worse from three. Dillon Brooks was around 34%, or something along those lines. So for somebody that shoots as much as they do, I need a little bit more. But I like the attitude because now Houston they're cementing an identity. We're tough. We're scrappy. We're in your face. We're young. We're brash. But we got our older, hungry guys because Dillon Brooks just got discarded by Memphis. They lost to the Lakers. No Brandon Clark. No Steven Adams. Dillon Brooks was trying to get a charge out of LeBron, I guess, and just get into his head. Didn't work so well. So I think Memphis scapegoated him and just said, you got to get up out of here. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here while their star was out there playing with guns. So he's going to get a chance to start over under a coach that's not going to take any shit off of him. And that a coach that commands respect, head coach for 1 year, took Boston to the finals, You know, he was on Brooklyn staff coaching Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So there's nobody on the roster of that ilk to challenge him from a superstar standpoint. So even though I may not like the individual players that Houston grabbed, I think the combination of them and what they bring, we're going to see if this is a word later, intangibly to the team. I think I like what they did, even though I would have liked for them to get Brook Lopez, you know. But hey, they had already paid $20 million a year for Dillon Brooks. They gave Van Vliet, what was it, 43 or something like that, 3 years, 130 million. You know, quick maths, you know, 3 divided into 13, you know, it's 410, bring it down. So, you know, somewhere around 32 million a year. So, you know, I don't like the money that they spent, but the bad team tax is real, as they just found out. So, Houston had a problem. Now Houston's solving problems. Anything less than the play in, and I might even alter that, you know, to say 6 seed, but anything less than playoff conversation in Houston next year is a disappointment. Believe in Ime. So holla back. Sports Reports is ordered 2-5 out.